Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the authors that are my AutoBuy authors that I will buy everything from. So prior to this year, I didn't actually buy many books. Okay, that's a lie. So I went through a phase between 2010 and 2016 where I would just buy every single book that sounded interesting to me, but now I'm a lot more picky, or I was until lockdown happened, and then I just felt the need to buy all the books. So if I say an author is an AutoBuy author for me, it means that they are my absolute favorite. I love them. I will buy anything they've written because I know that I'm guaranteed to love their books. And AutoBuy authors and auto-read authors are different. Auto-read authors I can get from the library. They're also kind of favorites and I will give anything a go by them, but I'm not entirely sure I would want to reread their books in the future, so I don't buy them. But I do have 11 authors who have become my AutoBuy authors for various reasons, so I wanted to tell you about those, both to promote them and both so that you get to know me and my reading a bit better. So my number one AutoBuy author, not that this list is ranked, but she's just the first one that I thought of, is Ruth Ware. I talk about her a lot on my channel. Ever since I marathoned all of her books last year and did a reading vlog for it, I have been a massive fan of her books, and I have enjoyed almost all of the ones that I have read from her, which is her entire list at the moment, and I am super excited to see what she's coming out with in 2021. I assume she's coming out with a book because she seems to release a book every year. This is also very unusual for me because I don't normally buy thriller books because they're not books I would want to reread, but I already know that I want to reread Mrs. Westaway and The 10th Key, probably one by one as well, but I read that one most recently, so I'm not entirely sure when I will get around to that. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to most of them because I barely have time to reread books, but if I did, I would be rereading Ruth Ware's. The next person I want to mention is Mindy McGinnis. She writes a lot of feminist fiction. I think it's mostly YA contemporary, but the first book I read from her was Not a Drop to Drink, which is post-apocalyptic, in which there is no water, or very little water. I've been a fan ever since I read that one. I think there are a couple more books of hers that I have not read yet, including The Female of the Species, and I'm sure I'm going to love that one. So I do need to get my hands on that, but I just know that when Mindy McGinnis announces a new book, I'm either going to request it or I'm going to pre-order it because I know that I will really enjoy her books. I think my favourite of hers is still Not a Drop to Drink, although I did really enjoy her newest book, which was Be Not Far From Me, and that one is a survival story, and I've realised I really enjoy books about people who are lost in the woods. The next person I want to mention is, of course, A Chakraborty. She is the author of the City of Brass trilogy, David Bed trilogy, and it's my all-time favourite trilogy. It's an incredible series from start to finish. It's just fantastic, and I cannot recommend her books enough. She has only written this trilogy so far, so the fact that she's already an AutoBuy author for me is kind of amazing because I haven't had a chance to try out her other stuff, but I know that she's releasing another book in 2022 which is about pirates, and again I think it's set in either the Middle East or Eastern Africa, Northeastern Africa, I'm not entirely sure, and it's about pirates and it's written by A Chakraborty. So those are the three things that I know about it, and which mean that I'm definitely going to read it, and I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. Then we have Sanderson. Although he's not exactly an AutoBuy author for me because I don't love his YA books, so I've kind of given up on those and I'm pretending they don't exist because I've given all of them 3 stars or less. I DNF'd his most recent one because I just could not do it, it was really boring. But his adult Cosmo stuff I do really enjoy, and also I really like his short stories. I think he writes quite good short stories, particularly The Emperor's Soul, and it's very unusual for me to enjoy short stories or novellas because I tend to want longer to get to know the world building and the characters, but for some reason I just really click with his, and I really like his Cosmo stuff. Although I didn't really enjoy Warbreaker that much, I'm also kind of pretending that one doesn't exist because I think that's one of his earlier works along with Elantris, but I did quite like Elantris because I like the world building. I found that Warbreaker was always pitched as kind of a more feminist one because it's got 2 female characters who are sisters and it's promoted as being about their relationship, but it's not really, so that really disappointed me. But anyway, I love his Mistborn trilogy, the original one, and I'm loving so far the Stormlight Archive, although I've only read the first book and half of the second, so I do need to catch up. But he's an author that whenever a new book comes out I do get really excited, even though I'm not always ready to read it yet because I'm not caught up on the series. The next person I want to talk about is F Kuang. She wrote the Poppy War trilogy, which is ending next week or this week as you're watching this. I can't remember when this video is going up, and I adore her books. I don't know what she's coming out with next, but again she's another one who has released only one trilogy and I've loved all the books so far, so I think she's definitely on my must-buy authors list. And I've also watched a lot of interviews with her and she seems like such a sweet person, and it's hilarious to me that she's writing such dark and gritty fantasy because she just seems like the nicest person. So like I said, I love the Poppy War, I love the Dragon Republic. I'm going to be reading The Burning God as soon as it comes out, and also I will be doing a review or a reading vlog or something on my channel to help promote it, although it doesn't really need my promotion right now. I'm pretty sure either that or Rhythm of War is going to win the Goodreads Choice Awards, even though neither of them are out yet. But anyway, my point was that I look forward to seeing what F Kuang comes out with next. I don't know if she's working on anything new at the moment or if she's going to take a break and do her university stuff, but I'll be waiting for whenever she brings out a new book. The next author I want to mention is K Jemisin. So admittedly, I have only read one of her books so far. I've only read the 5th season, but it just kind of shook me to my core and I absolutely loved it. So now I am buying all of her books, even though I haven't read all of them yet. I do need to finish the Obelisk Gate and the Stone Sky, which is that trilogy, which is the same trilogy as the 5th season, Broken Earth trilogy. And then I think I'm going to get on to one of her previous ones. But I'm kind of putting off reading her books because I'm convinced that I'm going to love them and they're going to break me. So I don't want to read them right now, even though I know that I'm going to adore them. I'm a really bad booktuber. I don't know if any of you also experience that. If you know that you're going to adore a book or really enjoy a book, you keep putting it off because you don't want it to be over already before it's even begun. I did the same thing with The City of Brass. I bought it as soon as it came out, but then I didn't read it for another probably 4 or 5 months, and it was just sat on my shelf, and I could have had all of that time with the characters and I just didn't. Anyway, so I will continue to buy every single book that K Jemisin releases and hopefully read them at some point when they stop intimidating me. Another author who has been on my auto-buy list for the longest time, probably since I first started book blogging in 2010, is Matson. So she often, I think she exclusively actually writes YA contemporary, and I have loved every single one of her books. I have clear favourites. My absolute favourite is Since You've Been Gone. It's just a fantastic book about friendship and I cannot recommend it enough, but all of her books have been really, really good. Second Chance Summer was also a good one, made me cry a lot. We have Save the Dates as well, which is a bit less emotional and a bit more fun and chaotic, which I also really enjoyed. And I think Matson is coming out with another book in 2021. She seems to release books every other year rather than every single year, and I just love her books, so I will carry on buying them. And she also has a pen name, Katie something, but I can't remember what, and I've really enjoyed those books as well. The first one was called Broken Hearts, Fences and Other Things to Mend. I'll put a picture here so you know what I'm talking about, but that is also Matson, and those YA books are a bit less emotional, a bit more fun, a tiny bit younger than her books that she writes under Matson, but definitely still worth the read. The next author that I will continue buying books from is Karen M. McManus. She wrote One of Us Is Lying, One of Us Is Next, Two Can Keep a Secret, and in December she has The Cousins coming out. So I really enjoy her thrillers. The first one, One of Us Is Lying, is probably in hindsight a bit problematic, but I think she has gotten a lot better with her writing. Her thriller skills, I guess you could say, have also tightened and she's become a really, really good thriller writer. I most recently read One of Us Is Next from her and it kind of blew the first book out of the water, and I'm really looking forward to reading The Cousins when it comes out in December. Then we have Yaa Gyasi, who wrote Homegoing and Transcendent Kingdom, which came out this year. I absolutely adored Homegoing. I picked it up on a whim from the library. I don't think I had heard much about it before, and it's kind of historical generational fiction, and it follows the descendants of these two people throughout their lives, going from what would become Ghana to the United States, and it follows their journeys, and it's such a good book, and Yaa Gyasi is such a talented writer. I am honestly so impressed. I also read Transcendent Kingdom by her, and that's more literary fiction about a woman whose brother has committed suicide when she was in her teens. Her mother is dealing with depression, her father has left them and gone back to Ghana, and she's dealing with a lot, and it covers faith, religion, substance abuse, depression, suicide, and all sorts. While it's not my typical book, it's not an all-time favourite, it was still so well written, and she's such a talented author. Like I said, I'm really impressed. I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. I hope she releases something next year, but I don't know if she's going to take a bit longer to write something. Either way, I'll be buying her next book and putting it on my shelves immediately because I'm so excited for it. The next person I want to mention is also an old school author who I've been reading literally since I was probably 16, and that is Rachel Vincent. So I started off reading her Shifters series when I was in high school, and I got all of my friends into it because we managed to get get into, because of me, a massive urban fantasy kick, and her Shifter series just ticked all the boxes. I do want to go back and reread the series and see if I still enjoy it, because I'm not sure 16-year-old me and 28-year-old me have the same taste, but we will see. Anyway, so I discovered her because I got one of her books from the charity shop, and then I read her Soul Screaming series, which is YA, and then I read a couple of her other things as well, another fantasy series called the Unbound series, which was fantastic. I loved it. And then she took a break, because I'm not sure if she took a break from writing or if the publisher just didn't want to publish any more of her books, but she is bringing out a new book in January, I think, 2021, and I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited to get back into her books. I haven't read one series by her. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put a cover here. That's the only one I haven't read, and I think she's probably one of my most read authors at this point, because she has released so many books, and I've been reading her books for literally over a decade now. I wouldn't say her books are the most hard-hitting or unique or anything like that, but she has a really gripping writing style, and she has obviously kept me hooked. And then finally we have one of my all-time favourite authors who I discovered a few years ago, and that is Jane Harper, who wrote The Dry, Force of Nature, The Lost Man, and most recently The Survivors, and I've loved all of her books. The Dry was one that I read for a 24-hour readathon. I read that and Force of Nature. The Dry was fantastic, but then I discovered The Lost Man, which blew everything out of the water. Honestly, that book is a fantastic mystery thriller. It's emotional, and the setting is so realistic, and it's about family. I cannot recommend that one enough. I adored it. And then The Survivors is also really, really good, and it's another like small town drama mystery sort of thing. I would liken that one kind of to Big Little Lies. It gives off a very similar vibe, and it's also a bit different to her other books, because her other books take place in more northern Australia, where there's more of a drought. The Survivors is set in Tasmania, where it's a lot more wet and there are storms and things, so it feels very different. But my point is, Jane Harper is an all-time favourite author of mine. I will be reading all of her books every single year as she releases them, and I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. I'm really sad that the UK and US publishers are so far behind the Australian publisher with her books, because her Australian one published The Survivors in September, I think, and we're not getting it here until February maybe, but I managed to get an advanced reader's copy, so I've read it already. I would highly recommend pre-ordering it if you enjoy a good small town thriller, because honestly it's fantastic, and Jane Harper is so talented. So those are the 11, I think, authors who have become my AutoBuy authors, either over time or really quite quickly in the case of some. Let me know in the comments below who your AutoBuy authors are, and let me know also if you love any of these authors as much as I do, because I would love to fangirl with you all. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll be back soon with another one. I upload every other day at the moment, so if you subscribe you'll get a lot of content from me. Thank you for watching. Bye.